The film begins in a quiet place, the vast Australian desert, where there are no signs of life anywhere. Suddenly, an unknown object streaks across the sky, leaving a trail of fire behind it before crashing into the barren land. The next morning, an employee named Bill heads out to repair a damaged cell tower. As soon as he steps out of his vehicle, he walks toward the tower and is surprised to see a small dog wandering around not far from a nearby town. When he bends down to pet the animal, something strange on the ground catches his eye. As he moves closer, he notices a dead rat lying there, covered in a weird, sticky red substance. Out of curiosity, Bill touches the mysterious substance. Suddenly, he feels a sharp pain shoot through his entire body. Struggling with the intense pain, he realizes that a worm-like creature is moving under his skin, slowly crawling toward his brain. Meanwhile, in the nearby town, a young boy named Simon suddenly wakes up after hearing strange noises coming from outside his window. When he fails to wake his mother, he goes to find his aunt, Joanne, and excitedly tells her about his terrifying discovery. As soon as Joanne gets out of bed, she immediately calls her coworker Luke to ask about the cell tower repair. When Luke answers, he tells her that Bill went to fix the tower earlier, but no one has heard from him since. Joanne says that since the signal is down, she will check the tower herself while heading to work. Just then, the call suddenly drops. Frustrated, Joanne puts down the phone and tells her sister Samantha that the movers will arrive on Saturday. She also expresses her excitement about moving to the city soon. After leaving the house, Joanne drives toward the cell tower. When she arrives, she finds it completely destroyed. As she enters the fenced area, she sees a local technician filling out a report. Curious, Joanne asks him if there was a storm during the night. However, he denies it and says that if such a massive storm had occurred, people would definitely have heard it. He also mentions that the damage looks intentional and that installing a new tower will take at least a day. Annoyed by the inconvenience, Joanne heads into town to gather information from the locals about anything unusual that might have happened the previous night. She stops at a nearby cafe and talks to the owner, but doesn't get any useful information. Inside the cafe's busy kitchen, the chef Anthony suddenly hears his dog whining outside and goes to check on it. Just a few seconds later, a terrifying noise is heard. Moments later, Anthony is seen wandering out onto the street, walking aimlessly without any sense of direction. Joanne and the cafe owner notice his strange behavior and call out to him, but Anthony doesn't respond to their voices at all. Sensing that something isn't right, Joanne walks toward her car. But suddenly she freezes after noticing blood on the ground. Following the trail of blood, she reaches near the cafe fence where she finds Anthony's dog dead and horribly deformed. The same strange substance is oozing out of its body. Realizing that something unnatural might be happening, Joanne heads back toward her car. On the way, she notices a group of teenagers gathered on the porch of an old building. Looking up at them, she asks if they saw anything strange happen to Anthony's pet. The teens say they don't know anything, but they do mention that the dog was acting very strangely that morning. Warning them to inform her if they remember anything else, Joanne leaves the area. A few minutes after she's gone, the teenagers look up and start feeling uneasy as they notice several strange, scattered figures in the distance. Soon after, Joanne arrives at the clinic and tells Luke about the dead animal, asking him to examine it and find out the cause of death. Then she goes into another room and tries to contact Bill over the radio, but all she hears on the other side is complete silence. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Samantha is working at the library. She notices her son Bebam and his friends staring out the window. When she walks over and looks outside, she is shocked to see Bill standing there completely motionless, staring blankly into nothing. Worried, Samantha opens the door and calls out to him, but he doesn't respond at all. Frightened, she quickly goes back inside the building. At the station, Joanne and Luke are visited by Angela, a local geologist who has a deep interest in photography. Excitedly, she tells them she has something interesting to show. She takes Joanne out to the desert and reveals a massive crater in the rocky ground. Angela explains that the crater appeared overnight, and something extremely heavy must have crashed to create it. Joanne listens to Angela's theory about an object falling from the sky, but she remains skeptical. Still, she advises sealing off the area and conducting a proper investigation. While walking back to the car, the two women discover another dead animal, its body pierced by the same sharp, spike-like structures. At that moment, they realize both incidents are somehow connected, and whatever caused it might not be from this world. Joyne instructs Angela to collect a sample from the animal. Meanwhile, at the school, Samantha keeps a close eye on Bill and the children. Bill's strange behavior begins to scare her. Suddenly, Samantha remembers that one of the students had gone to the restroom, and she becomes worried about the child's safety. As she tries to figure out where the man went, she realizes that Bill has completely disappeared. Growing more anxious, Samantha quickly gathers all the children and moves them to another classroom, instructing them to lock the door and stay inside. Samantha then rushes to the office and tries to contact Joyne through the radio. After several attempts, she finally manages to reach her and delivers the horrifying news that she saw blood in Bill's hands. Concerned, Joyne tells Samantha to stay with the children and reassures her that she is on her way. When Joyne arrives at the school, she finds Bill standing near the basketball court. His face is covered in a red substance, and his eyes look empty and lifeless. Joyne tries to talk to him and asks what happened, but he doesn't seem to understand a word she's saying. As Samantha runs toward them, Joyne tells her to wait outside while she goes to check the restroom. Inside, Joyne sees blood pooled across the floor. As she enters one of the stalls, she freezes in terror. The horrifying and macabre sight inside makes her step back in shock. Coming back outside, Joyne pulls out her gun and points it at Bill, arresting him for the horrific crime he committed. Meanwhile, Samantha goes into the restroom to see what Bill has done. When she sees Bill's brutally murdered daughter, she nearly faints from the shock. Hearing noises from the nearby stall, Samantha opens the door and finds a frightened young boy hiding inside. Covering the boy's eyes so he doesn't see the horrifying scene, she quickly leads him outside. As Joyne places Bill under arrest and puts him in the car, Samantha, still trembling from the shock, asks her sister what would do something so terrible to his own daughter. Unable to give a satisfying answer, Joyne advises Samantha to gather all the children and take them to the police station. At the same time, elsewhere in the town, Luke begins to grow suspicious of Anthony's strange wandering and decides to follow him. Despite Luke's attempts to start a conversation, Anthony remains silent and barely acknowledges his presence as he keeps walking. Standing there, Luke suddenly hears distant voices from teenagers hiding on the upper balcony. When he looks up, they explain that they were hiding to avoid the strange people outside and were hoping someone would come to rescue them. When they say they can't leave because the doors are locked, Luke pulls out his gun, enters the building, and begins searching the area, only to be shocked when he finds Marsh hiding there. With tears in her eyes, Marsh explains that Anthony attacked her, so she had no choice but to run for her life. Telling her that everything will be okay, Luke tries to lead her safely outside. But suddenly, Anthony lunges at him. After being violently thrown aside by Anthony, Luke notices something horrifying happening to Anthony's face. Strange veins begin bulging and crawling under his skin. Moments later, Anthony rushes at Marsh, grabs her head, and slams it hard against the wall. Trying to save her, Luke fires his gun, hitting Anthony in the leg. Screaming in pain, Anthony runs away. As Luke chases after him, he suddenly runs into Dean, who is showing the same terrifying symptoms. Out of nowhere, Dean starts running, and Luke goes after him, but he can't catch up. Dean reaches his house and brutally attacks his wife, grabbing her by the throat and snapping her neck. At that exact moment, Joyne arrives at Dean's house and witnesses the horrifying sight of the dead woman. After meeting up with Luke, the two officers begin searching for Dean. They soon find him holding his young son in his arms. Trying to calm the now deranged man, Joyne attempts to check on the child. But suddenly, Dean attacks her, forcing Luke to shoot him. As the man collapses to the ground, they see something even more terrifying. A massive, monstrous creature disappearing beneath the earth. Their shock is broken when zombie-like infected people begin chasing them. The two officers run to their car and rush back to the police station. As soon as they arrive, they immediately contact a doctor and ask him to examine Bill's condition. After a brief checkup, the doctor tells Joyne that this is unlike anything he has ever seen before, leaving them even more confused. After the doctor leaves, Joy carefully begins talking to Bill, who slowly seems to regain consciousness. Excited, she asks him what happened that morning. With tears streaming down his face, Bill confesses that voices in his head forced him to commit a terrible crime. Even though he realized what he was doing, he says he couldn't control himself and begs them to kill him. Suddenly, Bill's face twists into a horrifying expression, and a different voice emerges from inside him, claiming that he snapped the girl's neck and ended her life instantly. Terrified by everything that has happened, Joy tells Luke to gather all the uninfected people and bring them to the police station for safety. After returning to the office, Joy and Luke receive a call from Angela, who says she wants to leave the town immediately and that she can see a massive sandstorm approaching. Despite trying to push through the storm, she fails and realizes that going any further is impossible. Worried about her friend, Joy drives toward the outskirts of town to bring Angela back. Meanwhile, at the school, Samantha begins to feel surrounded by strangers who keep staring at her. Following Joy's advice, she decides to go to the police station. As they run toward the car, the group suddenly freezes in shock at a horrifying sight. A supernatural creature is attacking people and dragging them into the ground. Once the immediate danger passes, Samantha leads the group to the police station, where a few people have taken shelter, while the rest of the community remains locked inside their homes. However, the infection has already reached some houses, wiping out entire families. As night falls, Joy heads out with a young man who had been hiding in the police station to search the town for possible survivors. Meanwhile, Luke and Samantha guard the station and continue bringing people to safety. During their mission, Joy and the others see a crowd of infected people chasing them. Somehow, they manage to make it back inside the police station just in time. While looking out the window, they hear a terrifying, ear-piercing scream echoing through the air. Moving toward the direction of the sound, they witness a gigantic creature slaughtering the infected one by one. Curious, Luke and Joy step outside and come face to face with the monster. The creature drags Bill's lifeless body from the roof of a nearby holding cell and disappears beneath the ground. After the attack, the group realizes that a little girl is missing, so they set out to find her. After searching for a while, they are horrified to discover Michelle being attacked by her infected mother. As they try to rescue the girl, the alien creature suddenly appears again. Grabbing the mother who is holding Michelle's leg, the alien drags her away, and Michelle begins to get pulled along with her. Desperate to save the girl, Joy fires her gun and shouts to draw the creature's attention. Picking up a shovel, she strikes the infected woman's arm and manages to free Michelle, while the creature drags the lifeless body away. The alien creature then carries the infected bodies into the desert and burns them in a massive fire, seemingly destroying the disease and clearing the thick clouds of dust covering the town. The next morning, the survivors are left in shock, struggling to process the horror they witnessed. Sitting outside the police station, Luke tells Joy that he wants to leave the town, but Joy insists on staying. In the end, Joy quietly watches her nephew sleeping. Her eyes fall on a drawing the child made, a picture of the mysterious alien creature. With this, the story ends here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.